Greeting friends and YouTube family, thank you for tuning into this video where I'm going to talk about 3 things that, as an INFJ, you most likely suck at. Now it's okay, because I want to kind of explore a couple of topics and then hopefully come up with some ideas with you as to how we can, as INFJs, suck less at certain things. Because, I mean, first of all, there's more than 3 things that you're probably not great at. I'm just going to say that you suck at. And, but we're going to hit on 3. And from those 3, I'm hoping that we can learn a little bit about ourselves and have a little bit of fun with ourselves, some self-deprecating humor in the process. So stick with me, and we're going to start this thing up and talk about some stuff that you suck at. Here we go. All right, so 3 things that you suck at as an INFJ. Before I begin, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and do that kind of thing. That's great. I like your support. It's nice. I like having a group of you that we can just kind of hang out and talk with. This channel and you guys in particular make it really, really awesome. Second of all, for those of you who have been asking, yes, the book is coming. I'm working on it. If this is the first you've heard about it, I wrote a book. The main character is an unhealthy INFJ. It's a supernatural book. It's really cool. I'm going to link to the first chapter again down in the bottom. If you haven't read it yet, please do. And also a link down in the description to my website if you want to sign up and get notified when the book is going to be released. And also, if you have no idea what an INFJ is, and I've already said it a few times, please follow the link down there and do some research. The whole entirety of human knowledge is at your fingertips. All you gotta do is look up 4 letters, people. It's all good. And stop writing me comments that say, "What's an INFJ?" Please. The link is there. It's really easy. Okay. Deal. Before I begin, I want to give you this disclaimer. Just because we talk about common things for INFJs does not mean that I am putting every INFJ in a box. We are all individuals. We all have our own experiences and upbringing and different ages and social structures and everything else. And so you as a person may have very similar traits to other INFJs, and you may have ones where you are much stronger about or much weaker on. That's normal. You're an individual first. So just because you're an INFJ does not mean that you think a specific way. Sure, your cognitive functions are there. It's how you perceive and see the world and all of those great things, but you could be totally different from somebody else according to your training and experiences and everything that you've been through in your life. So we have similarities, but we're not all the same. Remember that you are an individual first, and I'm sure a pretty awesome one. Unless you're leaving a shitty comment right now. Then you can just go away. So the first thing on my list of things that INFJs suck at is coming up with a way to stop your overthinking. So look, call it an introverted intuition thing, but we tend to get locked in our own heads. And I've done videos on the NITI loop before. I'll try to link, check it out, please. It's actually a pretty funny one. And so that loop is something that we can just get drawn into, and then we start overthinking, and our mind does not stop. I'm going to tell you a little personal story about this. I have tried meditating. And the first thing that people say is like, look, it's okay if your thoughts tend to drift when you're learning how to meditate and how to just get that peace and that calm and that serenity and just empty your head. Apparently, there's a lot to empty out because I don't stop thinking ever. It's the INFJ mind, in my estimation, is going 100 miles an hour in 100 different directions on 100 different thoughts 100% of the time. So it's hard to quiet that down. So to illustrate the example of what it is like to be an overthinker and trying to meditate, well, here's a look. So, this is weird. I'm supposed to empty my head. Okay? Head is empty. This is nice. I mean, it's not empty. There's a brain in it. Hey, brain. What's going on? Brains are weird. What are they even made out of? Brain? Skin? That can't be a thing. You wouldn't put suntan lotion directly on a brain. Then again, your skull is typically attached, so your brain doesn't sunburn easily. Right. Meditating. I'll do that. Refocus. Breathe. Not going to think about that time in second grade where I told Carly Wilson that I wanted to marry her, and later in the day I got really sick from the lunch my mom packed and threw up that cheese sandwich all over poor Carly. She never forgave you, you know. As a matter of fact, you probably traumatized a poor girl. She was probably at a restaurant on a date with a lovely young man when she was in her 20s, and he ordered her tomato soup and a grilled cheese, and she started sobbing, and he thought she had deep-seated trauma when it was actually your explosion of projectile cheesiness that triggered her into missing out on what could have been the greatest, most fulfilling relationship she ever had, because the guy was genuinely really good and did lots of stuff for charity and saved a school bus full of children from falling into a sinkhole when he was like 12. Okay, shh. And now he's screwed up for his entire life because all he wanted to do was order Sweet Carly some food. But now he's terrified to, because he doesn't think everyone's just going to start sobbing, and he goes out with another woman and doesn't order the food for him, and instead has to pound down anti-anxiety meds because at any moment they're going to start sobbing and ditch him, and he won't realize that he is in fact a beautiful human with a beautiful soul. It's because you were overly emotional and asked Carly to marry you when you were like in second grade and then threw up on her. So basically all of these failed relationships are your fault too. You monster. You know what? Just breathe. Because everything is going so well for you right now. I mean, face it. You don't open up to people. You throw up on school children. You think your brain should have suntan lotion, and you ruin the life of a great man you barely knew. What do you think is going to happen to people you actually care about? You know, you should just go eat some ice cream and get in a good sob. Meditating's awesome. I love it. So much peace. Yeah. So how do we get better at quieting our own mind? Now listen, that loop sucks, right? And it's something that we tend to get drawn into because of who we are and how we think and how our cognitive process works. We start to overthink something. We end up getting more information through our intuition about a particular topic. We're not taking the time to understand and process it in a way that's very comfortable to us. We're trying to think through it, and sometimes thinking without looking at other people's emotions can be something that we have a hard time with. I suggested this in the prior video, and I think it really holds true as something that can help balance you. Find something emotional that you can latch onto. Playing music, listening to certain songs that really hit for you, having a great one-on-one conversation with somebody where you can get into a nice deep topic, learning about something that is very interesting to you. For me, writing. Writing always pulls me out of things. The problem is trying to get into the mood to write sometimes when you're overthinking is very difficult. And so you do tend to spiral down. But anything where you can take those internal thoughts bouncing around like a pinball inside of your brain and extrovert it with somebody else or in some other manner, or even listening to somebody else talk about the things that they're going through and being able to offer help. Those are the kinds of things that will boost you as an INFJ and really pull you out of those doldrums when you end up falling in there. Not everything has to be an awful moment locked in your own head. And understand too that other people are going through all of these same things. You're not unique because you overthink. Everybody overthinks to some degree. It's just a manner in which you do and what happens to you when you do. Personally, I overthink, I lose sleep, I get stressed, my back starts to hurt, I don't eat, all sorts of crazy things start to happen. But I'm learning, and still learning, and it is a process of how to get past that and try to break out of it on my own sooner rather than later, so I'm not stuck in that state for a very long time. Number 2 on my list of things that INFJs suck at is social interactions. This doesn't apply to everybody. Some people are very comfortable in that social atmosphere. As an INFJ and being that introvert, I can extrovert, and I can extrovert with the best of them. I ran a karate school for a long time, putting in 100 students in and out of the doors in any given night. And for that, you have to be on, and you have to be out there talking to people, understanding them, and really communicating for a long stretch of hours and hours and hours. And so now, sure, when I was done, my brain had slid out of my skull and I needed to sleep for 20 hours, and never did. But it's something that we can do. And a lot of times INFJs are mistaken for extroverts because of how we like to dig into other people's feelings and emotions. And so we really do like to know people's motivations. We want to understand them better. And all of those things are great. I imagine something that would be horrible for an INFJ would be a circumstance like speed dating. Because when we start to get nervous in a social situation, some of that randomness is going to come out like this. Hey, hi, nice to meet you. Yeah, no, my name's not Infija. It's INFJ. I thought it'd be funny to just kind of put my cognitive type. But do you know what MBTI is? You probably don't. It's fine. It's a thing. That's not. I'm David. Yeah. So it's kind of awkward, right? A little weird. It's been a weird night, but it's nice. I mean, I'm happy to be here and talk to you. So that's good. I figured, everybody's kind of talking about the weather and all that kind of stuff, that we just talk about something different. And so is there something you'd like to talk about? Sure. Yeah, we could do that. So something that you learned today, and we could talk about that for just like a minute. Is there something you want me to go first? Yeah, I can go first. I'll go first. Let me go first. I like going first. Going first is really good. I like doing that. It's nice. Right. So I was reading, just sometimes I read random science articles and things like that. Did you know that the human body has over 100 sphincters? Right. I mean, like, they're all in there. You don't control, you don't control all of them, just the one, because of poop. It was really interesting. Maybe I should think of something different to talk about. I'm sorry. I'm sure we can stop talking about your sphincter. I wasn't talking about your sphincter in particular, but I'm sure you can control yours, and it's really nice. I'm sure you have you're very pretty. There's probably a lovely, right. So I'm going to stop talking about your sphincter. It's probably an inappropriate time to make a joke about the planet Uranus. I was just because Uranus is really big, and the scientists say it smells bad. It's from the methane, and yeah, you know what? I should probably go. I'm gonna go. Why is my brain this way? I'm really sorry about all the poop stuff. I was just trying to make a point. Also, I think it's kind of funny that was number 2. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me for who I am. So how do we get better at social interactions? And what do we do to get around all of that awkwardness? The first thing is to keep in mind that not everybody wants a deep conversation right away. So it is okay to talk about some surface level stuff. And even though it's not your cup of tea, it's something that you can use as a bridge to get into some deeper conversations. So maybe don't start out with talking about, I don't know, the theories of quantum entanglement with somebody that you are talking to in line at a grocery store, standing 6 feet away from, by the way. So there's really no reason to talk to anybody. But it's okay to talk about the weather and talk about kids and work and all those kinds of things, and that's fine. And then use that to bridge into deeper conversations to really get to know somebody. Don't go too far too fast, but also don't put up all of your walls, because sometimes it's nice to let go a little bit and talk about some of the things that you're going through and get some of those things from somebody else. It is okay, and it is going to be okay for you to do that. So just relax, have a normal conversation, and then remember that you can use that normal conversation to get to know somebody, to bridge into the stuff that you do find to be really, really important about how somebody is doing. When you ask somebody, how are you, as an INFJ, a lot of times you really mean, how are you? Not how you doing, but how are you really? And I think people do tend to appreciate that conversation from somebody who is very willing to listen and maybe not just talk about all of their own problems or issues or sphincters. The third and final thing on my list of things that INFJs suck at is self-care. We spend so much time on the emotions and harmony of other people because of that extroverted feeling being really high in our function stack. And it is how we kind of absorb and gather some information about our surroundings and other people to really kind of dig in. We can read people. And we spend all this time on that in the emotions of others that we tend to neglect our own emotions and our own needs. So the likelihood of INFJs not eating because we're stressed out, it's fine, not triggered, or not taking care of ourselves in some way, losing sleep over things, really ignoring everything and running ourselves ragged and into the ground because we are perfectionists typically, and because we want to make sure that everybody else is okay, the likelihood of that happening is just very, very high. But once in a while, we have to be able to take care of ourselves. Now, you don't want to do that in a way that's too much. So, for instance, healthy coping is better than unhealthy coping. So if you're feeling like you need to do self-care, like downing an entire bottle of vodka on the lunch break on a Tuesday, that's not self-care, that's self-destruction. So let's not go there. Also, if you have a credit card, like stay off of Amazon. I'm just saying. Otherwise this might happen. Yep. No, I'm fine. I'm good. No, I've just been doing some Amazon shopping because, you know, I don't know, I was feeling kind of down and I thought it'd make me feel a little better. So I just picked up a couple things that I needed, you know, in the house. That's all. What did I get? Oh, well, I was thinking to myself, you know, it's been a long time and I had the guitar and stuff, but I haven't done any piano playing, and that's what I originally learned on. So I actually just went onto Amazon and I bought a piano. It's fine. I got plenty of room on the credit card. So I just threw the piano on there. I thought, you know, what would look really cool on top of the piano would be like a sword. So I was looking around and I found a sword, and then I got the sword for on top of the piano. And then I thought, well, it would be really cool as a painting over the piano because I'm putting it in my living room. You know what my living room looks like. It's, you know, kind of bare walls and all that kind of stuff. I thought what would be great would be like a big painting or picture or something of a monkey. So I got like a monkey thing, and I'm going to put the monkey thing over the piano with the sword on it because, I mean, who doesn't like monkeys, right? You like monkeys, like macaques. And then I remember the last time I played piano, I had those, like, it was the metal things on the floor that you use for sustain and all that, but your feet can get kind of cold, and I don't like to be barefoot anyway, so I decided to buy a cool pair of socks. And then after I bought the socks, I found something else. You know how much I like bananas, and I was thinking about the monkey painting over the piano with the sword and with my cool socks on, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to get that banana slicer, because who likes slicing bananas? Nobody. Then I'm like, you know, when I'm not playing, I like to listen to some soothing music, so I picked up an album, and it's called Chant. It's the Benedictine monks of Santo Domingo, and they do this thing where they're like, roar, and that whole thing, and I thought it was really cool, and it's kind of soothing to listen to. I mean, I wouldn't listen to it like in the car because you might just fall asleep and crash, but it's kind of neat to just have on in the house as you're wandering around or taking a shower or whatever, looking at your piano, or the monkey, or having slices of banana. Then I remembered that there's that party coming up, and I thought, you know what would be really cool is to find a gag gift for the party, so I bought a book as a gift for my friend. What book? All right, so I may have been a little impulsive, and I don't want to say the title. So how do we get into the self-care to make it okay so we're not clearing out our bank account, loading up a credit card, or day drinking ourselves into oblivion? To start, make sure you have a list of things that you like to do. You know, just like a phone that needs to be charged, sometimes you have to take the cord and shove it in the phone and put the phone down and leave it alone, right? Let it introvert, and then it'll charge up and it'll be okay. And just like that, do the same thing. Just don't take a cord and shove it into a... I'm going to go back to the sphincter thing now. I'm so sorry. Don't put a charging cord there. What's wrong with my brain? Plug yourself in metaphorically, not actually. And find those things that you like to do that bring you some joy and some peace. If it's gardening, get your butt in the garden. If it's playing music, grab the guitar or the piano or the accordion or the didgeridoo or the kazoo or whatever you have lying around. Pots and pans and a fork work fine. And do something to make yourself happy that way, right? Find those little things that you can do that will help you recharge. That is self-care. Just make sure it doesn't drift into self-destruction. That's all. So in closing, my sweet, sweet INFJ, you're okay. There are some things that are not strengths for you, and that's all right. Everybody has their sets of things that aren't strengths for them either. And you can go ahead and get past all of those things. Just because you're an INFJ doesn't mean you are in this box and you're always going to be bad at a specific thing for your entire life. It doesn't work that way. But sometimes you do need some help breaking out of it. And sometimes you do need to reset your course in such a way where you are going to be okay. Lean on the people that you trust and you love, and make sure that they understand you. And that is critical. People that understand you, that can help you out in those moments. You're going to be fine, and I believe in you. So thank you for watching this one, and I will see you all very, very soon.